Okay, guys, this series of videos is going to be a short, very quick video lesson on proper knife skills, how to cut certain vegetables, because you're going to cut onions different than you would cut mushrooms or green peppers or broccoli or whatever. So one of the most common things we cut in the kitchen is an onion. So what I tell people is before you do any cutting or anything, make sure you have a good cutting board and a good knife. Okay, wood is the best thing for your blade. And I have this cutting board, I got a Bed Bath & Beyond that has these grips so it doesn't slip. If you don't have that, just take a towel, get it wet, and then wring it out because you don't want it sopping wet. Put it underneath because you don't want the cutting board to slide because that's a safety hazard, of course. And then naturally, you want your knife to be sharp. This is a Wusthof. They're one of my favorite brands, but there's so many out there now. Just remember, you want a knife that's sharp because it's actually safer, because if you get cut with a sharp knife, it'll give you a clean cut, okay? So, and then whenever I'm going to do any preparation, I always have something to catch the trash, and I always have something to catch my product. So, with onions, what I do is, a lot of people when they cut the root, they'll just cut it right here and they'll waste a lot. So, I take the knife. Okay, so I'm holding the dull end, and I put my thumb a little bit further, okay, a little bit further than the actual blade. And I'm using my thumb to stop the blade, okay, and this is how I'm going to, and I'm keeping my thumb on the root there, okay, just going around and adjust it a little bit if you have to. And there we go. Nope. And that's it, because you don't want to waste too much. Then do the same on the other side. Just go in there, kind of like you're digging out an apple core. And that's it. And then I peel the rest. This is the proper way. So everything I'm going to show you in these videos is the proper way to do it. I understand that for certain things, you may not have the right tools because, you know, maybe you don't have the money because good kitchen equipment is expensive, but it'll last you a lifetime. Or maybe there are other reasons, and that's understandable. And I always keep a clean towel that's damp to wipe my hands and wipe off my knife. So that's done. So you got your onion. So let's say, I'll show you two things. I'll show you how to julienne and how to dice. So to do either, the first thing you're going to do is cut it in half and set it there. Then, if I'm going to cut it, I always have the root end, you can see the root end, facing, I'm right-handed, so I would have the root end facing my left, okay? So if I'm going to julienne, anytime you cut something, you see chefs, you know, they're chopping away, and you wonder, a lot of people say, well, how come they're not cutting their hands? Well, when you cut something, I always keep my thumb, and any chef will do this, you always keep your thumb in the back, okay? So this way, if you're chopping and you're chopping and chopping, if the knife slips, see, where's your thumb? It's in the back. So a lot of people will do this, okay? See that grip? That's dangerous. Keep your thumb in the back. And then also my fingers are always like this. Okay, so while I'm cutting real fast, the blade is going against my fingers. Okay, so, and also when you cut, hold your hand like this. Okay, you have the tine or the blade where the blade meets the handle, like that. Some people do this, that's no good. Some people do that, and you can get an injury. Okay, so like this. Okay, so also the back end of the knife is where you have more power. You don't want to cut way up here unless for some reason you're only cutting a little bit. Okay. So basically what I do is I try to rock when possible. If you have a thicker piece of food, that may not be possible because you may be doing this. So that's when you'll just go up and down, okay? Use your judgment, take your time, don't try to push it and go too fast because that's how accidents happen, okay? So that's that. So now what I'm gonna do is, because this is a little bit of a bigger piece of food, I'm not going to rock. I'm just going to go up and down. Again, focusing on the back part of the knife. All right, so I'll start like this and then show you how my hand looks like that. We'll move that onion. So, okay, and this is how it looks from this end. See how my thumb is in the back? So this way, if my hand or the knife ever slips, it won't get my thumb. And then when you get down to that little piece, and then when you get down to that little bit, I just, and that's it. Okay? Then and when you use your knife to scrape up the food, don't hold the knife down. You want it just so you don't dull the knife, okay? And that's it. That is the proper way to julienne an onion. Now, if you want to dice an onion, so the root end goes away from me. So I'm going to cut, a little piece of skin there. I'm going to make cuts into the onion, but I'm not going to go all the way. I'm going to go about maybe 1/4 of an inch from the root. The root is what is holding the onion together, right? So if I start cutting there, it'll fall apart. So that's why I'm going to go from the other side. And again, I'm just going to go make cuts like this, okay? And then I'm going to make cuts like that. So first, and then keep your palm flat. Some people like to do this. I always recommend this, and keep all your extensions up, not down. And I'm just going to let the knife do the work, okay? I'm not applying pressure, because when you apply pressure with the knife, that's how accidents happen, okay? All right, very calmly, or very gently. And see, I cut a little bit too far on the bottom, but that's okay. And if that happens, okay, big deal. So you know what you do? Just remove that. Not the end of the world. Okay, it's life. Things happen. So that's good. And I'm going to cut a little bit more. And at the top, sometimes you don't have much to hold on to, so all you have to do is just be careful. So you can see I have incisions. Okay? And now I'm going to do the same thing, but going perpendicular. And I'm going to leave about that much space. Or that much of the onion left, okay? So, and I'm using this portion of the knife. Move that out of the way. So now you can see I have cuts, okay, going both directions. And then I'm going to use a gentle motion going in a rocking motion like this. And then you have diced onion. And when you get down to this part in the root, what I do is I just cut that between my fingers there. Cut it again, turn it, and I get rid of the root part. And that's, and there you have your diced onion. And then what you can do with this bottom part that fell apart, we'll just... Now, if I was in a 5-star kitchen, I would take my time to be much more precise, because in 5-star kitchens, the chef would sometimes go through it, and if everything wasn't exactly the same, he would say, here, throw it away and start over. And then I have all my containers here ready to go. So that's an onion. So I'll show you how to do a green pepper next. It's not hard or anything, but I like to show everybody instead of tell them, because it's always better to show. So keep our station clean, okay? Always keep your station clean. Keep your knife clean, okay? Boom. The peppers have already been washed. My favorite way to do peppers is cut the bottom first. And then I start here. A lot of people start here, but see, there's too much waste. I like to start here and go kind of like if I was doing an orange. Okay, and that white part is I don't like to use that. I always cut that out, okay? And that's it. So if I were doing a lot of peppers, I would do them all like this first, okay? And then I would line up the pieces just like that. And then I would go and cut them. So if you want a julienne, you just do that. Or maybe you want to dice them, so you would start with a julienne. And then Now, when you're cutting something, like in this case, all the peppers have been already cut, so they don't stay together in one piece like like the onion was or a carrot. So my thumb is out, but I'm also keeping my thumb and my fingers back a little further, okay? Now, one thing to do, if you ever have a job cooking food and it requires several steps, like for example, for the peppers, you cut the bottom off first, then you cut the sides off, then you julienne them or dice them. Always do one step at a time, okay? It'll make your work more efficient. So let's say I'm going to dice a bunch of peppers. Well, I'm not going to dice each one. I'm going to do a julienne of all of them first, or a thicker julienne, however you want it. I'll line them up there, nice and neat. Oh, there's one more there. And that's it. So I would line them all up, and then when I went to julienne them, just take out a little bit at a time. Don't take out too much, because then you won't have control over it and it'll get messy. All right. And you do this with anything that requires multi-steps. Okay? And that is how just some basic knife skills for peppers and onions. Now we're going to move on to cutting round vegetables. Now ideally you want to cook on a flat surface, cut on a flat surface, because it's safer. But let's say you have a carrot and you want the carrot round. Well, then you have to leave it like that. But see, this carrot is long and I don't have much control over it because I'm going to rest my thumb on the back. So just cut it in half. And then I have more control over it. It's always about maintaining control, okay? So, I have again, keep my thumb, or my finger, sorry. Use the first knuckle and keep my thumb back. Not here, back. And this is not a thick carrot, so I can just do a rocking motion. Sometimes I've had much bigger carrots and it requires an up and down motion. So, and remember, when I'm working with a knife, I'm never applying much force. Okay? I'm letting the knife do the work, and my hands, my arms are relaxed. Okay? Now I go to the other piece. And be mindful of these fingers over here, because see, I use my middle finger here to rest the knife against, but sometimes people forget and these fingers can go out there dangling and they can get cut. So keep them back. And when it comes to knife skills, this is 27 years of knife skills. So for those of you who don't have that experience, take your time, okay? Take your time. Don't push it, because you can have a very bad injury. And now let's say I want to do a julienne carrot. Well, what I would do is start out with a more manageable length, so like that. Then I would just cut. So now I have a flat surface. Then I would cut again. Let me get this way so you can see better. And we're getting to the edge there. It's some more difficult. Okay? And so these random odd pieces that are, just as not as well shaped because they're from the side, then what I would do is put them aside and just take my carrots. And there I have a julienne. Okay? I'm not worried about making these absolutely perfect. That's not the intent of this video. And there's a julienne. Or if I needed to dice them, you do it the same way as the peppers. You start with a julienne and then dice them. And that's it. There's going in there. And then the scraps, of course, I'm going to use them. And again, in five-star kitchens where everything must be more precise, we're much more, we apply much more scrutiny to what we do. But at home, don't worry about it, because you're just cooking for yourself or maybe your family and not a five-star kitchen. Now, another round vegetable. zucchini. It's too long, so I'm going to make it manageable. Now, a lot of people will do zucchini like this. Let's say you're going to cut it in wedges or whatever. Let's turn my oven down. Okay, so a lot of people will do this. I might do that if I'm grilling it, okay? But, however, I prefer to do zucchini this way if I'm going to dice it, okay? If I'm going to grill it, yeah, I'll do it that way. But the problem is this part is so thin, it'll get cooked. So what I do is this. You have your zucchini, so I'm going to cut on each side. So what'll be left is the middle. Okay, you'll see. So like this, I'll go right about to where the seeds come. So you're getting the more firm part. And see, then that's left. Okay, I get rid of that. Again, for some applications, I may want that. But see now, this is firmer. It's not that kind of mushy part, okay, of the zucchini. All right, so this is how I like to do it. And then I would just marinate them, put a little oil, salt, pepper, herbs, or whatever you want, barbecue spice, put it on the grill. And then if I need to dice zucchini, this is how I do it. So you start like that, and then you do the same thing you did for the pepper and carrot, right? You make your julienne first, or if it's not well, julienne technically is very thin, so these are not juliennes. I'm just slicing them, or if you want to call it a thick julienne. And then boom.